Hello and welcome to the Litany of Catholic Martyrs for June 10th. Make sure you pray for those families who had loved ones who were martyred this past Easter Sunday in Sri Lanka. As I've said before, I offer this ministry because I believe that many of the priests and Catholic priests and bishops, for whatever reason, doesn't really matter, don't mention the martyrs enough. I don't hardly ever hear them in the homilies anymore. I don't hear them mentioned. I don't see them in the bulletins. So because of that, I believe that the church, and so do many priests, Father John Hardin, who believes that, who has said that the blood of martyrs, how the blood of the martyrs goes, so goes the church. So from Jesus to Mary to the saints and then to the martyrs, and through their loving and giving manner in which they offer their lives for the church grows. In the Eastern Orthodox now, they are murdering them left and right, and that church is suffering a great deal right now. But ultimately, like Pope Benedict XVI says, the church is going to get infinitely smaller, much, much smaller, with a small core of very faithful, very religious, very devout, very pious people, laity and ordained as well. And from that will grow the Lord's church again. He started off by himself. The Lord Jesus Christ started off by himself. And then with just 12 men. And many of these men were not learned. They were just fishermen. But Father, they were tax collectors. Even one was a traitor. But with those 12 men, he built this church. And it'll happen again. Very small group, very powerful group, very devout group, very prayerful group. And I believe it'll come from the martyrs, from the sacrifice of the martyrs. So I offer this ministry for them, for love of them, and for love of the church. So all that being said, for June 10th, these are the martyrs for today. In Scotland, Saint Margaret, Queen, celebrated for her love of the poor and of voluntary poverty. At Rome, on the Salarian Road, the martyrdom of Blessed Getulius, a noble and very learned man, and his companions Cerealis, there it is, Cerealis, Inancius, and Primitivus. By order of the Emperor Adrian, they were arrested by the ex-consul Licinius, scourged, thrown into prison, and then delivered to the flames, tried to burn them to death. But as the fire did not injure them, their heads were crushed, they were beaten to death with clubs, and thus terminated their martyrdom. Their bodies were taken up by Symphorosa, wife of Blessed Getulius, and reverently interred in a sandpit on her own estate. She buried him on her home, on the land in her home. God bless her. Also at Rome, on the Aurelian Way, the birthday of Saints Basilides, Tripos, and Mandales, and 20 other martyrs under the Emperor Aurelian and Plato, governor of the city. At Nicomedia, Saint Zachary, who was a martyr. At Prusias, in Bithynia, Saint Timothy, bishop and martyr, under Julian the Apostate. In Spain, the holy martyrs Crispulus and Restitutus. In Africa, the holy martyrs Aresius, Rogatus, and 15 others. At Cologne, Saint Marinus, abbot and martyr. At Petra, in Arabia, Saint Asterius, a bishop who suffered much from the Arians for the Catholic faith. By the Emperor Constantius, he was banished to Africa, where he died a glorious confessor. Constantius, during his time, I also believe, Saint Athanasius, Constantius didn't slaughter as many. He would he would exile them, and then they would come back. Like Athanasius came back many times. At Naples and Campania, Saint Maximus, bishop and martyr, for having vigorously defended the Nicene Creed, he was sent by the same emperor, Constantius, into exile once again, where he died worn out by his trials. And Auxerre, Saint Censurius, bishop. These are the names of the men, women, and many times children who suffered for the faith, out of love for their faith, out of love for God, out of love for Jesus, and ultimately out of love for us. Remember them in your prayers today, and they are certainly remembering you. God bless you, and thank you for listening.